Typhon, the father of all monsters, stands as the final trial atop Mount Olympus in Hades 2. This fight can be extremely challenging, so in this video we're going to help you out by breaking down every phase and every move in the battle to take him down. Now before we do get into all the specifics, positioning is going to be super important here, as you'll need to stay right underneath him at all times. And the only time you should move from this spot is to evade certain attacks. Every one of Typhon's attacks are heavily telegraphed, and once you've memorized the startup animation of each of the attacks, the fight actually becomes surprisingly easy. But practice makes perfect. That's the nature of a game like Hades, especially when dying is part of the process. So get your reps in and don't stress if it takes you a bit longer than you expected. So let's start off with phase 1. And when you're close to the boss, as you should be 99% of the time, he'll try and crush you with his big ass chin. He'll lift back, wind up the chin like most English blokes at Oasis concerts, and red sparkles will appear on both horns and chin before slamming his chin into the ground. For this one, dodge straight down and you'll never get chinned. It does deal a ton of damage though, so make sure you always do dodge this one. If the boss cocks its head to the side and sticks its tongue out like it's trying to take the mickey out of you, the tip of his tongue will glow and then he'll sweep a laser across the arena, so dodge across the laser to evade it. If you see Typhon take a big breath in, he'll then blow big cyclones out of his mouth, and to avoid these, simply just run away. The movement of the cyclones is random, but Typhon will track you, so generally it's best to wait until they dissipate before you start your counterattack. When you see Typhon lean forward and his giant center eyes start to glow, he's about to blast at you. The first large eyeball explodes on contact with the ground and splits into 3 into a cluster of 3 smaller eye bombs. When they're airborne though, the eyeballs don't actually have a hitbox, they can only hurt you at the moment of impact. The best way to evade these is to wait on the lower part of the map, then dodge straight up, then after, watch out for those clusters and dodge away. Then we have the falling ice swarm, and the best way to describe the animation of this is when it looks like Typhon starts laughing. Take note of where the dark circles appear on the ground below the falling eyes and avoid these areas. During phase 1, you should be able to dodge all of the falling eyes by dashing straight through to the top of the arena. Then there's the eggs. Typhon will turn invulnerable and fade into darkness, before then shooting out eggs from his mouth that can hurt you if they land on you. So stand to the side and immediately unload all of your biggest and best damage onto the eggs. Because if they do hatch, armored powerful enemies will spawn, and then you have to deal with these and Typhon at the same time. Every time the eggs spawn, Typhon's tail or hand will then follow up and attack you. The tail will send out a slow moving shockwave that you can dash through, and the hand will shoot out a fast moving straight shockwave which you can also dash through. Once you have successfully depleted Typhon's first hidden HP bar, Olympus then comes to your aid. Then Typhon keeps the same moves from phase 1, but with a few enhancements and additions. Typhon cannot attack you whilst his tongue is on the ground here, and if you deal enough damage during this phase, he'll go straight into the phase 3 eggs. But if you don't, you'll then have to fight his second phase until you trigger the phase 3 eggs. You'll then want to follow the same instructions as the previous egg section, of killing them before they hatch and dodging the tail or hand shockwaves. During the final phase, the tongue laser we mentioned earlier then gains a second sweep in the opposite direction of the first one, to dodge across the laser, then opposite direction to evade both sweeps. Unlike the phase 1 eye bomb, the phase 3 version immediately explodes on the ground, clusters into 3 eye bombs, and then clusters again into 3 more eye bombs, totaling at 9 small clusters shooting out at the end. To dodge these ones, sprint to the bottom of the map the moment you see his eye glowing, then dash straight up towards the top of the map to avoid all of the explosions. The phase 3 version of the exploding ice swarm is the opposite of the phase 1 version, so you basically need to reverse your positioning. Sprint to the bottom of the map, as the phase 3 ice swarm always falls at the top of the map, explodes, and then sends out the floaters. Finally, spike tails will always begin at the bottom of the map. Now, since you should already be positioned at the top of the map for the majority of the fight, you should have plenty of time to react. To evade these ones, wait for the first set of spike tails, then reposition, wait, and reposition again for the subsequent spike tail attacks. If Typhon's other attacks are preventing you from repositioning to dodge the spike tails though, then your best option is to wait until the final tail appears beneath you, and just before it begins spinning, dodge sideways through the tails to avoid taking the damage. And there you go, that's the fight against Typhon and all its moves, so now let's have a quick look at some recommended keepsakes. Luckier Tooth is a very common final region keepsake, granting an extra Death Defiance with a set amount of health restoration. As long as you can make it to the boss without losing the Death Defiance, the second chance can often give you the luck needed to vanquish this monstrosity. Unless you are running Strength 23, Luckier Tooth would be our go-to recommendation for the summit. Knucklebones is the standard Guardian defense keepsake, and the more health you go into the fight with, the more impactful the 10% damage reduction will be. If you are running Strength 23, Knucklebones is likely a better defensive option than Luckier Tooth because it will keep Strength active. If the last enemy you died to was Typhon, you can also equip Evil Eye to deal an extra 30% global damage to him too. And whilst you won't often be in this scenario, it's a solid option to remember. Then there's Engraved Pin, which gives you 10 seconds of invulnerability, or Blackened Fleece if your strategy revolves around spamming Omega moves. We also wanted to speak about White Antler too. Now 3 things must occur simultaneously before you should even think about equipping it. First, you need to have an extremely high damage build already put together here. Second, you should have armor, Death Defiances, and invulnerability like the Lovers and Snow Queen. Then finally, and most importantly, you're going to need to be very confident in your ability to evade all of Typhon's attacks, since you're going to be limited to 30 health here. When all of these conditions are met, White Antler can be the best keepsake to take into this fight because the damage is so unbelievably high, you'll burn through the phases so quickly to the point where Typhon will barely have any time to attack you. So there you have it guys, that's our video version of our How to Beat Typhon guide over on our website. You can click the link below to see the written guide in full for more details, and let us know in the comments if there's any other bosses you're struggling with in Hades 2. Good luck in your next fight against Typhon, and we'll catch you in the next one. Have fun and take care.